These are why stories and anecdote are not reliable, and why we should not make life and death health decisions such as going on a carnivore diet or a low carb or a keto or a paleo diet or an all Twinkie diet it doesn't matter. It's because the evidence is what matters, not personal story, because lots of people are dying from the leading number one cause of death on earth, which is heart disease. And that's why people who are giving unsubstantiated advice about health and diet and lifestyle nutrition is why it is very dangerous. And it is literally public health threat number one.
Diet is the biggest part of the solution to the healthcare crisis we are facing worldwide. What's coming in the next few years is going to dramatically change the long-term health outcomes of several generations worth of people.
All right, so rule number one, all experts are not created equal. One of my pet peeves is the media's tendency to present both points of view, which sounds like a good idea, but what it ends up being is an expert from each side. While the presentation of different viewpoints is a good idea, I agree, various experts should be well matched in terms of education and accomplishment, but this doesn't happen. Often two people who have widely divergent backgrounds and levels of expertise are presented as having equal standing.
I'm a combatives trainer. You yourself recognize that you're not a nutrition expert.
So a good example of this is a scientist like Colin Campbell, who's published over 300 articles in medical journals, presents evidence supporting a plant-based diet. And then the other side is presented by Gary Taubes, a columnist at the New York Times, who wrote a book on eating animal foods. Seriously, these are not equal. So
Chris Kresser tweeted that he'll be on the Joe Rogan podcast to debunk the Game Changers on November 19th.
Think of someone who could explain the nutrition really explain, based on like a Chris Kresser guy, based on actual science.
So I forgot who this guy was, like what his background is. I pulled his LinkedIn page up today to refresh myself. And after his name, he's got the letters L.AC. And I forgot what that meant, so I looked it up. And it means that he is a licensed acupuncturist.
A doctor of acupuncture. Hey, fuckface, you didn't go to medical school. Stop calling yourself a doctor. Yeah. Doctor of acupuncture is so weird. It's like, I'm a doctor of comedy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
You practice acupuncture. You're not a doctor. I think of someone who could explain the nutrition really explain, based on like a Chris Kresser guy, based on actual science.
Do you not feel like, I'm a combatives trainer, you yourself recognize that you're not a nutrition expert?
And Chris was there in the studio audience to get beat up by the logic and facts of James. Anyway, James starts off masterfully by asking Chris for his credentials in nutrition.
Yes.
Has any of your work or your ideas been published in the scientific literature?
No, I've never claimed that it has.
I just wondered. So
You didn't wonder.
No, I did wonder.
No,
I couldn't find anything.
But that's not why you were saying that. You were saying that to try to make it seem that he's less of an expert.
Well, he is. I'm not an expert either. So, Chris, would you consider yourself a nutrition expert?
No.
Right? You said that at the beginning.
I'm not a nutritionist. I have master's level training in nutrition. I would consider myself someone who is adept at reading the literature. So...
I mean, yeah.
So,
do you know how to read a forest plot?
Here it comes. The moment of truth.
Yes or no?
I don't.
Yes or no?
I don't.
Fucking
what does that mean?
That's basically...
All right. James Forest Plot Boots. It's
Forest plot.
Plot? Okay.
Yeah, because it kind of looks like a bunch of
Forest
trees, right?
plot?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You looked at the study that
I
you
have
referenced?
looked at the study.
Okay, so you don't know how to read it, so it's kind of...
So for everyone watching, from this point on, it's just an increasingly disastrous situation for Kresser. Like, from here on, Wilkes just starts fucking bombarding him. It's hilarious.
Okay. What does that specifically mean, like master's level training in nutrition?
Right, thank you, Joe.
Well, in California, acupuncturists have a 4-year master's program, which includes a lot of medical sciences and nutrition, research methodology, etc.
So you don't know how to read a forest plot. So have you actually looked at the study that you referenced?
I have looked at the study.
Okay, so we don't know how to read it. So it's kind of. Would you consider yourself a nutrition expert?
No.
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 What?
No.
Various experts should be well matched in terms of education and accomplishment, but this doesn't happen. Often two people who have widely divergent backgrounds and levels of expertise are presented as having equal standing.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what we've got here is a guy with a bachelor's degree in social change and communication and a licensed acupuncturist who's going to debunk a film with the cast featuring 12 medical doctors and 6 PhDs.
Seriously, these are not equals.
Y'all know what time it is. Red pill vegan. Next.
You know, we saw it with the Joel Kahn discussion, and you see it almost every time someone who's actually informed has a conversation with one of these influencers. Like, they're not being 100% accurate, objective, or even honest in a lot of cases.
Because I've come in here and people are saying, oh, what are you going to say to that debunk? Chris did not debunk the film. He made misrepresentations of our claims, and he got things factually wrong. Lower rates of cancer. That's what he's implying. When you put something in quotes, what does that mean to you?
It means that's what he said.
Yeah, but it's that quotation is quoting the study, right? Fair enough? Is that what they said in the study?
No, that's not what they said in the study. That was
right.
My summary of the evidence.
Right, thank you.
I can't get over how funny that is. I'm just actually quoting myself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
misleading.
That's his funnier.
Okay.
Here, listen to Joe for a second. Like,
okay, fine. Okay, let's go with that.
Like,
okay, let's go.
But he's not putting things in quotes
no, so
saying
let's
that
go with
someone
that.
else said it.
He's not putting things in quotes saying someone else said it. Look at the bottom of that screen. Can we go to the archives? Because I actually it's in the smallest font possible.
It's a source, isn't it?
It's a source.
That's misleading as fuck.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to attribute bad actorship to him for it, but it's a mistake at minimum, and it's very misleading, regardless of whether it's intentional or not.
Let's go to quoting myself though, and for those of you who can't see, you can follow along in the archives.
Quoting myself though. I love it. Okay.
You said, I don't know, he didn't provide a reference for that, so it's hard to reject, but it contradicts the evidence. If that's not reflective of the preponderance of evidence, why did you open your ebook with it? Because this is how I can show that he's handpicking these studies to make his claim. You said that 92% of vegans were deficient in...
Let's read what it says.
This is from 16 years ago, by the way.
Okay.
And a very small study from 16 years ago. And this is why I show you that he's handpicking the data that he uses. And this is where I go back to the fact that it's about the interpretation of the totality of evidence. And you can't really rely on someone that's not a nutrition expert handpicking studies to suit their bias. Anyway, you got things factually wrong about B12. So to the people listening or watching, do you really want to put the interpretation of the data in the hands of someone that just got so many things wrong about B12?
And you see it almost every time someone who's actually informed has a conversation with one of these influencers. Like, they're not being 100% accurate, objective, or even honest in a lot of cases.
You come onto Joe's podcast, and you're supposed to, people are supposed to believe that you are the best person to, because you say it's about the meta-analyses and you say it's about the totality of evidence. We agree. What you're suggesting is that people should listen to your interpretation of the evidence when you get things factually wrong, unable to read a single study and understand it. I am not qualified either.
That's a mischaracterization.
Okay, then tell me with the confidence interval of this in the forest plot.
So, listen, I'm presenting. I've never.
You presented some studies. Anyone can say anything about studies.
I've not put myself out like I'm the expert.
Think of someone who could explain the nutrition like really explain, based on like a Chris Kresser guy, based on actual science. And you see it almost every time someone who's actually informed has a conversation with one of these influencers. Like, they're not being 100% accurate, objective, or even honest in a lot of cases.
Seriously, these are not equal. Who was saying that one of the reasons why she was uncomfortable maybe getting into the business of helping people with health is how confusing it was when so many experts think differently about so many things. And I told her, I said, you're exactly right. A lot of experts do have different opinions. So you have to have some way of sorting this out, because if not, you degenerate into, I call it the he said, she said. He said this and she said that. My doctor says this and your doctor says that. And this book says this and somebody else's book says that. And he said, she said, they said, my neighbor said, my uncle's best friend's neighbor's mother said. And you cannot ever sort that out. And it's both consumers and practitioners that find themselves in this difficult situation where you're just in this constant turmoil of trying to figure out what's right, and you can't hold on to a thought for very long before a contrary and competing idea comes along. And it is confusing. So we'll agree the public is confused about a lot of health-related issues. That's both consumers and practitioners. And confusion stands in the way of good decision-making. A lot of the confusion results from the fact that you can advocate for almost any diet, food, supplement, drug, or medical practice using studies and articles published in medical journals and presenting experts who support the claims made. There is something to support everything. Well, I've watched this go on for years, and I've spent an awful lot of time re-educating members on many issues after they've been exposed to information contrary to what they've learned from us. No one wins if the whole thing revolves around me citing studies and experts supporting my statements with the other side citing their studies and experts, and we're back to the he said, she said, and they said. There's no conclusion to be reached on almost any issue when an individual's or organization's point of view is the basis for making recommendations. And in fact, one of the things that is the bane of my existence, and it's like nails on a chalkboard for me, is the adoption of science as a point of view. It's resulted in a significant degeneration of how we talk about very important health-related issues.
So stay tuned for the next part. We'll pick up right here where we left off. You can watch it. I will leave any intros and stuff out so that you can watch it in a consecutive style. And so again, my name is Cullen Smith. This is Lifting the Veil. You can find all of my full books, presentations, videos, films, articles, posts at patreon.com/liftingtheveil. And there is also a ton of exclusive content, and I will leave the cited reference links in the description down below. So you can check that out for all of my full content, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe. Please help me reach more people by sharing these videos around on the internet, because I rely solely on word of mouth, and the recommended algorithms are not recommending any of my videos or films anymore. My channel has literally been completely restricted, so I rely on your help, and I need your help. So please help support this channel by sharing my work around if you appreciate it, and make sure to subscribe if you're not a subscriber already, and leave me your comments. I definitely want to know what you have to share and what you have to think about all of this stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Y'all stay safe and take care of yourselves, and I will see you later.